Chapter 11, The Final Freakout.
There are only 2 pages left to go, Dirk, Jhon Betancourt said to the book in her lap. Not much space for a full-scale freakout. I can make more space. I assume you'll be the one doing the freaking out, yes? Oh, you better believe it. This book needs to be thrown in the river, and I'm going to a potently raised hell in here with my little words until you agree to do it for me. And I refuse to souse any but the last page, so that Anna and her friends can choose their fates for themselves. Souse is a good word. Yes. There was a brief moment of calm. Even the Levy quieted its babble. Betancourt thought that maybe she could hear the pounding of Acorn's mighty hooves in the distance, but soon that was gone too. This is it, isn't it? It's almost over. It's almost over. Endings are never easy, are they? Nope, which is exactly why I think we should ball right now. Follow my advice, erase the whole book, and it'll all be over here and now, no waiting around for the end. Your advice? Yeah. Okay, Dirk, you want to convince me? Go for it, but you have to let me choose where the conversation starts, okay? Fair enough, you know I like a good back and forth. Good, because it's about to get straight up dialogic in this bitch. Yes! You were talking about violence earlier, and that's where I want to start. Alright, and hey, thanks for ditching the quotation marks, this is nice. You're welcome. Now here's the thing. I think you're conflating violence with power and power with control. You're asking yourself a question, but it isn't whether you've been violent to the book, it's whether you have control over it. Control. Yes, control over the book. Right. In other words, it's a matter of, Dirk, no, authority. Come on. You have to admit, that was pretty good. Yes, it was. Thank you. Now, I don't know if I agree with your premise about me conflating those terms. Okay, sure, violence doesn't equal power, although it certainly is the easiest way to assert it. And yes, I may have been using do violence to as shorthand for claim power over, but I don't follow your second step. How is power different from control? One can have power without using it, and one can use power to follow, not just to lead. But isn't that just leading from behind then? Or at the least loaning your power to the leader, the person who is actually in control? Wait a minute, I'm going to add in some extra pages so we can keep this going. Fine, but you can't delay the end of the book forever. Here we go, hang on. Imagine the next few pages folding out from the book, like this. In other words,
flip it down
ways, Jhon. Alright, we're here. Make it okay? Yeah, as I was saying, this is a pretty bleak worldview, one in which everyone's machinating and scheming and usurping, and every act of control, which is, to you, every act, is one of violence. I shudder to think what self-control looks like under that system. What are you implying? That you desperately want to be in control of yourself, but you simultaneously fear it, which is why you try not to think about it, and in fact can't think about outside of completely absurd structures, such as the one we are in now. But I suppose you always were most comfortable with dialogues with yourself, weren't you? Do you think that's what this whole book has been about? Dirk's Adventures in Fucked Up Ponyland, Volume 1, The Ethics of Control, illustrated by Paul Batchen. Not all of it, but yes, much of it. Here, look at the development that your character has had so far. Throughout the course of this book, you've been assigning yourself less and less control over it, plot-wise. First, the characters start interjecting their own story into yours, supposedly without you noticing. Then they outright rebel against you, steal the book from you, literally and figuratively. They plot against you by turning the plot against you. And now, finally, you're trapped in this book. You're trapped within this book, in the book, a physical book in the context of the immaterial book, but an immaterial book in the context of the physical book, where you once more have control over the text, but an impotent control that has no consequences in reality, as much as the text I'm in now can be considered reality. In essence, you've returned to your starting point, only a layer deeper and a level weaker. The inferior copy of the copy of power, the mimesis of power, which is actually emblematic of powerlessness, could be. And yet, as you play it, stripping control away from yourself, you're actually hoarding it. Interesting, I want to revisit this later, but go on, I like where you're heading. As you, the character of Dirk, lose control, you, the external author Dirk, gain it. When's the last time we saw any of the text from the original book, other than chapter titles? Every paragraph you write lamenting your loss of control covers more lines of detective coding that we'll never see. And yes, in this case your assertion of control is through violence. But that's assuming I'm the one still writing this. Aren't you? You tell me. I'd love to, but I'm only able to say what you write me saying. I'm putting words into your mouth? It's your mouth, you're just calling it mine. What we're doing now, is this the collapse of the meta-ness of the text, or is it going a layer deeper into it? Is it getting flatter or thicker? You tell me. Back to what you said a bit ago, that I play at control. It was a very deliberate choice of words. You both love and hate these nebulous literary concepts, différence, trace, play. That one in particular has been sneaking in for a while now, becoming more and more prominent, and I have no idea what that signifies, if anything. I think you do. Play is something that both cannot and must be taken seriously. Either it is opposed to logos, or it is the very thing that allows it to be. Play has no essence of its own and cannot be affirmed without being negated. As soon as play comes into being and into language, it erases itself as such. And aren't all those things what this book is doing, especially now? You mean I'm trying to have it both ways? I'm trying to have this book be both playful and serious, and fighting against the possibility of it being playfully serious, and so it's ripping itself apart. Well, no. Like you said, it's a nebulous concept. I just think that if you open yourself to the possibility of play earlier, things might have gone differently. I should have treated this as a game, not as a game. Yes, precisely. Is it a game now? Well, at a point, the game should appear to stop. That's one of the game's rules, and that's where we can hunt down that hidden chain of signification, which you, and your role as an author, if such a thing even exists, shouldn't be able to see. At least, not as such. But since you're also a character, I think we can let it slide this time. How generous of you.